Politically Correct Bedtime Stories by James Finn Garner. Little Red Riding Hood. There once was a young person named Red Riding Hood, who lived with her mother on the edge of a large wood. One day, her mother asked her to take a basket of fresh fruit and mineral water to her grandmother's house, not because this was woman's work, mind you, but because the deed was generous and helped engender a feeling of community. Furthermore, her grandmother was not sick, but rather was in full physical and mental health and was fully capable of taking care of herself as a mature adult. So Red Riding Hood set off with her basket through the woods. Many people believed that the forest was a foreboding and dangerous place and never set foot in it. Red Riding Hood, however, was confident enough in her own budding sexuality that such obvious Freudian imagery did not intimidate her. On the way to grandmother's house, Red Riding Hood was accosted by a wolf who asked her what was in her basket. She replied, "Some healthful snacks for my grandmother, who is currently capable of taking care of herself as a mature adult." The wolf said, "You know, my dear, it isn't safe for a little girl to walk through these woods alone." Little Red Riding Hood said,
"I find your sexist remark offensive in the extreme, but I will ignore it because of your traditional status as an outcast from society, the stress of which could cause you to develop your own entirely valid worldview. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must be on my way."
Red Riding Hood walked on along the main path, but because her status outside of society had freed him, or his status outside of society had freed him from lavish adherence to linear Western style thought, the wolf knew a quicker route to grandmother's house. He burst into the house and ate Grandma. An entirely valid course of action for a carnivore such as himself. Then, unhampered by rigid traditionalist notions of what was masculine or feminine, he put on Grandma's night clothes and crawled into bed. Red Riding Hood entered the cottage and said, "Grandma, I have brought you some fat-free, sodium-free snacks to salute you in your role of a wise and nurturing matriarch."
"Charlie, what are you doing?"
From the bed, the wolf said softly,
"Come here, child."
I don't know how he's supposed to sound as a wolf sounding like a grandma, so we're gonna come up with something eventually.
"Come here. Come closer, child, so that I might see you."
Red Riding Hood said,
"Oh, but I forgot. You are as optically challenged as a bat. Grandma, what big eyes you have."
"Mister, leave it alone."
They have seen much and forgiven much, my dear." "Grandma, what a big nose you have."
"Oh yeah, stop knocking crap over." Or lamp.
"Grandma, what big eyes you have." "They have seen much and forgotten much, my dear." Grandma, what a big nose you have. Only relatively, of course, and certainly attractive in its own way, mother, grandmother.
It doesn't say all that last part, but close enough.
And it has smelled much and forgiven much, my dear.
Grandma, what big teeth you have.
The wolf said,
I am happy with who I am and what I am.
and leaped out of the bed. He grabbed Red Riding Hood in the claws, intent on devouring her. Red Riding Hood screamed,
Ah!
not out of alarm at the wolf's apparent tendency toward cross-dressing, but because of his willful invasion of her personal space. Her screams were heard by a passing woodchopper person or freaking eating weird shit. Weird chopping person. Or log fuel technician, as he preferred to be called. Log fuel well, yeah. When he burst into the cottage, he saw the melee and tried to intervene. But as he raised his axe, Red Riding Hood and the wolf both stopped.
And just what do you think you're doing?
Asked Red Riding Hood. The wood chopper person blinked and tried to answer, but no words came to him.
Bursting in here like a Neanderthal, thrusting your weapon to do your thinking for you. Oh, trusting your weapon to do your thinking for you,
She exclaimed.
Sexist! Speciest! How dare you assume my woman, the wolves can't solve their own problems without a man's help.
When she heard Red Riding Hood's... Really? I thought it was a man that burst through. He burst through in the cottage. Okay. When she heard Red Riding Hood's impassionate speech... Oh, yeah, okay, Grandma. Okay. When she heard Red Riding Hood's impassioned speech, Grandma jumped out of the wolf's mouth, seized the woodchopper person's axe, and cut his head off. After this ordeal, Red Riding Hood, Grandma, and the wolf felt a certain commonality of purpose. They decided to set up an alternative household based on mutual respect and cooperation, and they lived together in the woods happily ever after. Well, that was abrupt. All right. Enjoy. Bye-bye.